Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles. This is Legend of Zelda Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. This episode 101. I know that we had like a couple of special episodes. Technically this might be like the 103rd one, but this is the 101st numbered one.
They count, but they don't count.
They count, but don't count.
It's number 101 because we say it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
If the GM says that's how the numbers work, that's how the numbers work.
Yeah. Mathematics is my domain now. With me, as always, on this wild ride, I have Renji Vox being played by TheNetherlad.
Very cozy and happy to play again.
I have Hikan Sio being played by Avrdal.
Hello.
I have Zayden Shari being played by Robo Pirate.
Hi there, now with captions.
Yeah. And I have Max being played by Keistrith.
Hello.
Yeah. So, friends, what happened last time?
Well, we had a couple, that is two, episodes of more light-hearted roleplay in the port town of Sarkosa, where our party met up and talked business with familiar faces such as Thicket, Flamgo, Kalish Rayburn, the CEO of the Zephyr's Faber Trading Company, and even communed with the ghost of Minister Simeon, who appeared to be freed from the clutches of the Plane of Lament. The reason for the Storm's Eye to stay in Sarkosa, aside from getting for some much-needed rest, is a business soiree. The Fairwind Trading Company has been ousted from Sarkosa, and treason can only stop the wheels of commerce for so long. On invitation of Kalish Rayburn, the Storm's Eye finds itself at this get-together to schmooze in general, and speak with Nathaniel Phaedros in specific. Mr. Phaedros is a tradesman from Holodrum, hoping to trade with the Hyrulean continent. One part of this is an offer made to Flamgo to import exotic animals. Rather surprisingly, the Storm's Eye also makes contact with Lady Milrose and Lady Risha, who are the official delegation on behalf of the King of Hyrule, and with some hobnobbing, they realize that tradesmen at the party do wish to trade with rebelling villages within Hyrule as well. Renji quickly shuts down any lines of inquiry in this direction, assuring the members of commerce that the issue of the civil war is being taken care of quite soon. Probing Mr. Phaedros as they meet this gregarious personality, the Storm's Eye soon figure out that these animals are not suited for the climate, nor are they domesticated, as the pterodactyl, brought by Mr. Phaedros, seems quite uncomfortable in the coastal climate. As such, no agreement is made on that particular point. Later on, Hikan meets up with Lady Milrose at the party, discussing matters of the cult of the Sovereign Hand, and in particular the connection between the Arbiter and women with red hair. Lady Milrose does not know anything beyond what the Storm's Eye already knows, unfortunately, and it might be better to discuss things outside of the soiree, so a meeting is decided upon in the morning. And then Renji sinks the ship. The end.
Yay.
No, that didn't actually happen.
Oh.
I know. I had expected it to happen, but no.
There's so much capitalism on that boat.
Right? They could dismantle the system with just one well-placed thunderstep.
Yeah.
Takes more than one.
Oh dear.
If you
I
place
have a
it really
magic-
well.
I have a
So,
magic coin.
no. No, you don't.
No,
Shut
no,
up.
no.
Oh dear. Alright. So, we find ourselves back in Sarkosa. Thankfully, the night before has been remarkably quiet. Whatever dreams you may have are simply the dreams you would expect and have become more or less the norm as part of your lives. And
That for me, because I don't expect normal dreams anymore.
But yes, it also seems that Sarkoza has been remarkably quiet in and of itself. There was some revelry on the beach beforehand, and of course there are going to be those that wish to get drunk at any possible opportunity, but most of those are going to be frequenters of other more rough and tumble locales, such as the Crow's Lament, and the Sarkoza Inn is not exactly one for such a place. So you manage to, at least one by one or all together, make your way back to the Sarkoza Inn. You post up in your rooms and you get a good night's rest. As the morning comes and you all one by one make your way downstairs, at a time of day that is rather uncharacteristically early for people of high houses, one would expect, you do see Lady Milrose and Lady Risha sitting in the tavern, or in the tavern portion of the inn, at one of the larger tables. They have a few royal guards who are posted at each corner of the room, and Lady Risha is simply drinking tea, while Lady Milrose is currently eating something sweet. From the looks of it, it appears to be kind of like a fruit bowl sort of thing. Now, like, Lady Risha is dressed in the standard business attire that you've come to know her in, a kind of a practical black and purple number that is formal but not restrictive in movement. And Lady Milrose is like the opposite, where she is wearing a very comfortable tunic and practical trousers and stuff like that. She's not dressed like a noble in the slightest, but she doesn't really care. As you enter the room, they see you, and Lady Milrose offers a wave, and Lady Risha simply offers a nod. And Lady Milrose in turn says, "Actually, who would be the first out of bed in this instance?"
Considering we all only sleep 4 hours, should we roll a dice?
Sure, let's go for that.
I would say
Hmm.
Max and Mara, because they left the party first. Maybe Zayden. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, we did leave first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go down first.
Yeah. And Mara's close behind, and Lady Milrose kind of waves and says, "Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Please come join us. There's business to discuss, I imagine, but not necessarily too soon. It would be unwise to discuss it without everybody here, but that doesn't mean we can't share a table for a while."
Just vaguely nods and makes his way over. It's like, oh no, the person who does the talking isn't here. I don't know how to deal with these people. They're like important for some reason. I don't know.
Honestly, I'd half expected Max to just, after that invitation, turn around and then brush or walk towards Renji's room.
Knock, knock, help.
All right, what is it?
No, he's not actually doing that. He's learning to not just do that.
He's had some character development.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, you sit down. There's no like indication that you like sit down right next to these two people. It's like, no, it's just
No, I don't.
Yeah, you pick a chair on this fairly large table that you're comfortable with, and
stand behind it.
Yeah.
Sit down.
And Milrose just kind of continues eating her breakfast, and she looks over to Thicket and just like provides a bit of a gesture to to ask him to come over, and then she turns back and says, "So, how was your evening?" Bearing in mind...
Fine.
Hmm.
Fine, I guess.
She
He
kind
says, clearly having not enjoyed the night.
She, like, Milrose kind of sees this and nods and says, "Having a bad time is a valid answer as well, just to put that out there. It was..."
I've been told I have to be polite to you people, and I don't know how.
Well, it's like Milrose just kind of like chuckles to herself, and Risha just kind of like looks to you, and like there's a part of her that is very tempted to roll her eyes, but she, having some form of character development in her own way as well, just kind of like just shakes her head and says, "Well, you needn't be polite on our behalf. After all, it was not the party that we threw. You can be as honest about it as you wish."
Good. It sucked then.
Ah, there we go. Yes.
As soon as permission is given, just suck.
Milrose chuckles and says,
all the snacks were too small, and it was all just talking, and I don't like that.
"Ah, finally, a kindred spirit. Yes, there was too much talking, and I cannot stand any of those delegates. I mean, like, she takes that as permission to just vent, and just like puts elbows on the table, and it's like, I cannot understand how people can make money their entire personality. And Reese's like, I know.
At that moment, Renji walks downstairs.
Max is just sitting there like, wow, this is familiar.
See, Renji doesn't make money his entire personality. I make Renji's. I make money Renji's entire personality.
Uriel.
It's honestly, if Uriel were like a communist, power to the people, like, you tell me what you need, we're going to make it happen. Like, I don't think Renji would be so focused on getting more money to upgrade his stuff.
Like, the weird thing about Uriel.
No, I mean that Max was thinking about Uriel when thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the thing about Uriel is the fact that he's like, as much as everything that he sells is expensive, especially considering the fact that he's got a near monopoly on magic, especially with the Twilight Cartel gone. He's like, he is the magic items guy in the entire kingdom. So while his stuff is expensive, at the very least he's fairly honest with it, and he's not going to try and swindle you out of something specific. If he sets a price and you meet it, and if he haggles you down, that's fair. But if he sets a price and you then provide him with the money of that price, he gives you exactly what you ask for. He's a capitalist, but he's probably one of the most honest capitalists that this kingdom's ever seen, which is not necessarily an entirely good thing.
You just want your capitalist to be a good guy. I understand. I get it.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah,
he's like the least shit one.
Yeah, but it's also difficult to deny that his personality is entirely about money when his clothes, shop, house, and everything to do with him as a person is coated in gold.
Is Uriel going to turn into the Poe guy?
No, I don't know.
So Uriel is a well-meaning capitalist, right?
He's a well-meaning capitalist.
Eat him last.
Eat him last.
We'll eat him last.
I see. Fair enough. But yeah. So, Renji, as you come down, Risha and Milrose, they Milrose waves to you, and Milrose just kind of gives you a nod, just as before.
I will probably, given their status, Baron is still below them, correct?
Yes.
Mechanically speaking,
Yeah,
yes, you
yeah,
are below them
yeah.
on the ladder.
Okay, gotcha. Their nod will be answered by a more grave bow before I go to Thika to get some food and join them.
They kind of just Melrose smiles to you as you sit down and says, "So, I suppose question of the morning while we wait for the others. How did you find the evening?"
Honestly, I kind of had to hold back a little, given that Sarkozy is more of a free port than really under control of the king. It was surprising to me that there was such treasonous talk there.
And it was shit.
Oh, it was all right.
It was tiny.
I mean, that's what you get with a ship.
We've had bigger food than that on a ship before.
And it was a luxury yacht.
Oh, okay, right. I see. I see what you mean. It's always that small, unfortunately, Max.
No, it isn't. I've seen bigger fish.
The food on soirees is usually that small.
Never going on again.
Fair enough.
You can't make me.
Risha
Honestly,
kind of
if it's anywhere else with an open, with a kitchen attached to the party, I'm going to make sure that you get enough food. Okay? Just, I don't know, tug on my cloak or something.
But you'll be busy talking to people.
I'll make time.
At the mention of making food, Hikan comes downstairs.
They get the devil.
Don't call Hikan a devil.
Well,
It was a compliment.
I know.
Once more, the noblewomen will wave a nod to you, indicating the table with which to come to. And as you join them, Milrose kind of smiles to you and says, "Well, again, question of the morning. How did you find the evening?"
They're weird.
Max just solemnly nods.
Hikan looks at Risha, because this is the first time that he's seen Risha face to face in a while, and asks, "So how have you been liking the food?" Hikan's been making breakfast for Risha for the past... Not for the past couple of weeks, because I've been in the Plain of Lament, but for the week or so that the party was traveling without Hikan.
Right. Risha was there as well. Yeah.
It was go there. They he never saw Risha. It was more give it to the guards who gave it to Risha type of thing.
Yeah. Risha said, "Oh, well, it was certainly delectable. Provided some form of high spirits. Thank you, by the way. You didn't need to do that."
I was walking that way anyway, so figured why not.
Insight check.
Go for it.
That is a 15.
In regards to Hikan, there is aspects to it where it was when he first met Risha. Risha seemed very high-strung.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we kind of killed her dad and told her dad that he was a traitor to the crown, which put her in a depressive spiral, hasn't helped.
True, but also true.
Yes. And so it was, this is a kind thing that I can do that's not, because I'm not sorry I had to beat the shit out of your dad, but I'm sorry that you're sad. So, food helps. Everyone eats.
Like, your dad sucked, but you don't.
Yeah, but I think the what Renji takes from this is it is absolutely like Hikan went out of his way to do it.
A little bit, not a whole lot,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, I mean he did have to go by Risha's house anyway, because he went up to the Northern Guard post to go get Flamgo's notes to come back down and do other stuff. So it was on the way, but he obviously didn't do it for anyone else. So
Yep.
But yeah, Rish says, well, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much. It would be remiss of me to say that it had provided me with something to look forward to every so often during the day and helped me get back to work. So you've done a lot more than you might expect.
oh, awesome. Sorry I missed the past couple of weeks. Then I was kind of all lamenty.
And so I've been told. But I suppose we shall have to wait for the remainder of your companions before we begin discussions, and of course for you to have some appropriate breakfast, I suppose.
Maybe some lemon tea.
And they attempt to make polite small talk until Zayden, you come down and join the others.
Yeah,
and
I don't know. I'm down at a point.
Yeah, they'll wave you over. Once more, Milrose asks you of your opinion of the previous night.
It was okay. There was that guy who talked a lot.
Ah, yes, him.
You seemed very happy when Renji fobbed him off on you.
I only thought it would be beneficial for the kingdom to have someone better aware, more aware of current economic situation to talk to him, and not us who are just, in matters of economic growth,
we've been in another
fumbling around.
dimension for a while.
And also that, yes.
Yes. Well, Milrose just kind of shrugs and says, he was an insufferable oaf, but by all means, it was our job to be there and talk to him, in the very least, just to get some assurances that he won't be, that he or anyone else from Holodrum won't be purposefully providing anyone with treasonous intent. But, and she kind of like shrugs, it is what it is. Sometimes the people that you have to work with are not always pleasant, and Risha just kind of gives you, doesn't even say anything, but scans all of you and like gives you the look of rickshaw.
I imagine Milrose says that, and everyone Excalibur faces thinking of Rickshaw.
Max just goes, oh yeah, that guy. Do you still smell?
My spells don't have that potency.
No,
I need to
it's
roll
disappointing.
I need to roll a thing to see whether or not either of them have any particular gossip that might have come through the High Court while you were away.
Gossip divided by misgivings.
Risha just kind of like raises her brow to be like, smells, and just like unaware. Milrose on the other hand says, yes, I remember because I had to discuss with him at some point. Well, he doesn't smell in a terrible way. He has taken to wearing as much perfume as humanly possible. I swear one of my helpers saw him rolling around in his own garden to hopefully get some of the aroma from his flower bed. It didn't do much but make him muddy, which was quite funny to them, but I wish I was there.
Same. Oh, to be a fly on that wall. Tell me, you're more acquainted. How did he take the news of, say, 5 new barons?
Let's see. I'm trying to think of a thing like you were made barons and then immediately made for Mazro, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
A day or so afterwards, yes.
However,
So-
Kai did go to Artemark.
And has been there surveying shit.
Yeah. Both of them kind of just think on it a moment and say, we haven't had to sit court for a while, so none of us have actually spoken to him in person. I'm not sure whether or not anyone would be aware of his reaction.
Huh. So speaking of his reactions, if we really want to make him upset, I think we can bring Simeon back now.
They're, like, both of them just go
Right.
kind of go wide-eyed as like, oh, really?
Yes. So
If we were only kind of lamenty, he was very lamenty, and
We found his ghost in the Plain of Lament. And he's
Yeah.
trapped there.
yes,
And now
we
he's not.
managed. Yes, we managed to not just return the ship with live beings that had been trapped in the Plain of Lament. We escaped with the ghost of Minister Simeon as well. There was another spirit that we had hoped to bring back, however, that didn't work so well. He more or less sacrificed himself for us to leave. Honestly, I'm thinking maybe going back there. It's a terrible idea. But maybe in the course of our duties we'll have to anyway.
Risha just kind of falls quiet a moment. She like takes a spoon and begins idly stirring the tea in her teacup, and Milrose just kind of thinks a bit, and instead of thinking of it on like a ministerial position, she thinks back to like the practicality of adventure, and she thinks, well, if you were wishing to go back, then I would suggest maybe holding off until you have a definite, consistent way to go back and forth. After all...
Yeah, our ship needs to be repaired. I don't
So-
know if we've discussed cost. I may have forgotten already. Again.
I think we were just gonna have it stored for now and have it fixed later.
Yes. But it is, if you have the capability...
And I've got the battery so no one can steal it.
That helps.
If you have the
However,
capability, by all means, we will leave it to your expertise. After all, neither of us... Well, Risha has not had the life of adventure, and I have not done nearly as much as you had in the many years that I have been doing it, so you are the ones who have the authority on this matter. If you can believe you can bring Simeon back, then by all means, we would all support it. Even Rickshaw, I suppose.
We personally do not have the divine means. But we do have his assent to bringing him back.
Pull out writing implements and paper and put it on the table, and goes, he might be hanging around even, and just kind of nudge it to the edge of the table.
I blink for a moment, and my pupils turn square as I cast Detect Magic.
You cannot see his spirit in the tavern.
We did mention that he should make his way to Hyrule Castle Town, did we not?
I don't know if that was in character or above game, but I think we did say that because of all the hopping around that we're going to do, and we wouldn't
Yeah.
want to lose track of them.
Yeah.
Ah, too bad we can't like send to him. I'd just be like, why don't you go like haunt Rickshaw for a while?
We need to kill a sending stone so that he can carry it around.
I'll have to discuss this with Uriel.
Ariel, do you know how to kill rocks? Very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Melrose just says, "It is fine. We will. If there is a way, there is a way, and by all means, we will. If it is not now, then so long as it is not under some strenuous time limit, then by all means, we can just keep waiting and keep doing what needs to be done to bring him back. He is a missed member of the community, it must be said."
That he is. It was quite a welcome shock to see him again. Shock nonetheless, but
I can imagine. But we have, as much as we would like to dwell on pleasantries of this nature, daylight is getting brighter, and we must needs be able to conclude our business and make our way back to Hyrule Castletown before the end of the day. So, let us proceed to brass tacks, shall we? And Risha looks up from her teacup and nods and says, So, what of the situation in regards to the West are you aware of?
we've heard that it's gotten worse since the disappearance of Mazro.
That it has. While King's Ward still remains loyal, Avrdal village is all but seceded. They do not wish to openly be hostile with either side of the conflict. They simply wish to remain independent for their own safety and economic growth. It is not necessarily out of the question. Notions of becoming more independent from the rule of the kingdom has been floated about multiple times. There have been those who dissent from it, those who support it, but we want to be able to ensure that, as part of our duty of the High Houses of Hyrule, as well as those who work in accordance with the royal family, that these people are protected. If they believe that is the best aspect of protection, then we shall help provide it. What concerns me, however, is whether or not the other two villages, who are still openly fighting the kingdom, despite the fact that we have tried multiple times to sue for peace, it may embroil this one village who, despite their secession, would not wish to join the others. We have offered a token force to remain around Avrdal for the sake of its own independence, but of course you can understand things are a little tenuous at best.
I can imagine. Do you think news of the people of Mazro returning, albeit here, do you think that would sway them in one way or another?
Melrose chimes in and says, "It may sway some, but not others. Some will be focused on the fact that the situation had been resolved, that something outside the kingdom had taken away a settlement, and forces within the kingdom had sought to bring them back, at least as best as they can. And they will be thankful for that. The other half, however, will be more focused on the fact that it happened in the first place, and will be questioning whether or not, while there is something that might be able to triage and amend a situation, the lack of prevention, at least as far as they are concerned, is more the pressing matter."
We're working on that.
Yeah, speaking of that, business actually leads us to Azora's domain, which is quite the opposite direction.
But
It
you brought
is.
that up to us for a reason, so what do you need from us regarding the West?
Mostly that there may come a time, if reports are correct, that we will have need of you. At this time, we cannot be certain, but whatever forces Midos and Vestal had previously are no longer of a nature that we can ignore. It used to be that they had their own token forces. They had their own soldiers or militia that they were utilizing. It is only after the last week or so that reports have been coming through that they have been suspiciously well armed. In addition to this, they seem to be backed by things that are not exactly of the mortal scope. We believe at least one of their united military is a Lionel. At least judging by the armaments that seem to be on display, a number of soldiers in Kingsward have been felled by arrows twice as long as they are.
Did we see one of those before? And
Goes first shop, yeah.
yeah, that was it.
Yep.
It was pretty
Did
big.
we free that one?
We did, because
Yeah. I mean, that might be something to keep in the back of our heads.
Well,
We
maybe
are
if it's the same one, maybe he owes us one.
Right.
We are concerned, at the very least, says Risha, that there is some potential that the two villages are being armed by what remains of the Twilight Cartel. We are aware that Cassandra has fled in that direction, along with her sister Delilah, but from what we could observe while she was in her tenure sitting in for Lord Whitestone, she has been never one for alchemical or weaponsmithing pursuits. So where she's getting them from must be from a backlog of equipment that the cartel had. After all, from what reports we had, the cartel were planning on funding both sides of the war. Perhaps they simply had stock available ready to provide in case the forces of Hyrule came in a larger capacity.
Have there been any undead out that way?
We have no reports of undead, at least not yet.
Okay, good.
well,
I
That
know
might be
that
something.
I know that there has not been exactly much in the way of information there, and I would not doubt that you may not have gone in that direction to begin with, but would you perhaps have heard or seen anything in that area that might also provide us with some additional information?
there's a moblin in the area.
Oh yeah, that's spell.
A moblin.
With a very powerful artifact. Zayden saw him with one of his magics. I'm sorry, Zayden.
That's okay. You can. I wasn't sure whether you wanted to speak about him or not.
It's a moblin we ran into before. He has one of, and I gesture towards Zayden and Renji, our artifacts that I'm trying to get back.
I see. Well, we shall keep an eye out for him then too. Interesting. Is there a potential that this Moblin's temperament might mean that he would, or they would join the other villagers? Do you know, or would you believe them not to be of that mind? I don't know how intimately familiar you are with this Moblin.
I vaguely recall that he was in a war camp when I was looking at him.
Just seem kind of generally fighty.
He was willing to listen to people when we interacted with him because he let us in and he let us out.
See. In that case, then, we shall simply have to be careful. And
after going to Zora's domain and taking care of a personal thing, we were planning on heading westward to help out. over there, or at least try to get that artifact back.
Mm-hmm. It's on our list.
They're very dangerous. Glaze at Hikan.
Hikan like flexes his left arm. Yeah.
And Risha, like, nods a bit and like taps the table. Like the way her her eye line goes to the center of the table, and you can see minute movements as if she's analyzing a map that isn't there. And Milrose just kind of like looks over and raises a brow and says, "She's having one of these moments again. Give her a second." And after after a minute or two, Risha kind of nods to herself and says, "Perhaps then I have something of an idea, if it would appease. After you've taken care of this personal business, instead of meeting us back in Hyrule Castle Town, I would like you to meet us back here, in Sarkosa."
I mean, any place that we've been to wouldn't be an issue, so that's doable.
As long as we can have some... as long as we can be informed ahead of time. After all, we lack the...
Speed?
Yes, we lack the speed by which we can traverse this land compared to you, so...
Just give them one of the sanding stones.
Yeah, we would need to have a means of communication.
We've got like 2 sets now, right?
Yeah,
Mara has
one
the
with
other one.
Mara has the other one.
Mhm.
And then we have one that connects to currently one in possession of that is in the position it's in Impa's possession.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
she
know why
has it.
that was such a difficult sentence.
So if
That's
we
fine.
give her Mara's one temporarily,
Mhm.
Hmm.
we can use that to let her know when we're coming back.
Well, we could all stop by Hyrule Castle Town and get another set if.
No, it's fine. I mean, with what we're doing, we shouldn't need to be separated.
Guys, I don't think Mara's gonna let us out of her sight for a while.
Yeah, no. Risha says, "Very well. If that's the case, that would be the plan. I have a mind to go behind the enemy lines in a different matter, if possible, but we can discuss that later when more plans are introduced."
Doesn't sound like the safest plan there is.
And Risha kind of like cracks a brow, and then Milrose just kind of leans over to the side and says, "I appreciate that you have experiences as adventurers, but Risha has experience as a general, runs in the family. I can assure you, it might sound dangerous. In fact, it sounds quite fun, but the problem is, it is likely one of the better plans that we have in mind, which is why she wants to meet you here as opposed to Hyrule Castle Town."
I understand. I just hope that this isn't going to be a situation where either A, we're going to have to save you, or B, we figure out that you've betrayed us and we have to have some sort of confrontation. I really, really hope it's not either of those two things.
Nah. We'll be fine.
Right. Well, very well. Like Risha just kind of just sits straight, pushes the tea away, and says, "But that's all business sorted. Is there anything you would have to ask of us before we make our way back to Castletown?"
With regards to your comment about having to save her, I was wondering whether or not it would be worthwhile having a token of yours to be able to spry for you easier, in case we have to find you.
She kind of like looks over and says, Oh, I see. A misinterpretation. No, I will not be doing anything of that variety, and I don't think Milrose would be allowed to do anything of that variety. I mean in the sense that I would be sending you behind enemy lines in a different manner, as opposed to going overland.
Ah.
Uh,
Yes, that is indeed a matter of miscommunication. My apologies.
Just a moment. Hikan goes and borrows Thicket's kitchen, uses the chef feat, passes out snacks to everyone, but the people who get the bonus are the other members of my party and Risha.
Okay.
Tasty snack.
They're artisanal sandwiches, because that's quick.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Artisanal.
How much does that give us again?
5 temporary hit points.
Nice. Nom 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 tasty.
Very well. Any other questions before we depart?
Any pertinent information from the castle?
None as of yet.
I have not had. I've not been in contact with Impa for the last few weeks, so that needs to be done.
Can someone send a message to Kakarika Village for our horses to go back to the castle? Because I've been there the whole time.
Right. Oh dear.
They've just been looked after.
Yeah, like they're being taken care of, but
Yeah, but Pom is going to be disappointed with me.
we might need them when we go west, so.
Very well. If that is the case, then we shall endeavour to make sure that there is a message passed to Kakariko. As for more detailed information about the castle, there hasn't been much information, though I suppose with the disappearance of Masro and the potential secession of Hyrule Village, the king is not exactly in the highest of spirits.
Very well. There's definitely something that Renji wanted to ask about, but then decided against it.
Ron squints and says, "Tell him to play chess with his brother."
Melrose says...
Max stops himself from saying, but he got his sister back, right?
Exactly.
It's like, wait, no, we're not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
Nope. I stopped myself from doing that.
Yeah. Melrose just kind of nods and says, "Very well, we shall tell him to play more chess."
Wonderful. Anyone else have something to say? Ask?
You know I don't know how to do this shit.
Do you have questions that you want the answers to?
Not that they could answer.
All right then. Then no.
Very well. Come, we
Hikan
must make...
stops himself from asking something on Max's
Why is there no water on the moon?
Why is there no water?
That might be a Dutch only reference. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
And even then,
Here's,
it's incredibly niche.
Risha goes, "Right, well then, Lady Melrose, we must away." And Melrose says, "Yes, of course. It was lovely to see you again. I hope that we can be there. I hope I would... Please allow me to be there the next time you bump into Rickshaw. I want to see his reaction when he has to play nice."
We'll keep you updated.
And with that, they perform a friendly bow, and they make their way out with the royal guard, who are like following them neatly. Thicket comes over briefly to pick up their stuff and says, they were nice. Yeah.
There's worse people to have as delegates of the king.
he kind of, as he moves to put the stuff on the couch, he says, I don't know how long you guys are staying, but did you want any additional breakfast stuff before you go, or are you good?
I think we are good. Thank you for letting Hikan use the kitchen.
Thank you.
Let me actually settle the bill, because we are going to be heading out pretty soon.
Okay. Let's see. It's not too much, I don't think. It's like, I'm gonna say it's like 3 silver for the whole lot. He's probably giving you something of a discount for being
I'm getting him a
semi-regular
gold. Like, to hell with the discount. We want to pay you well.
Very well.
And if he mentions anything about a discount, I will put the gold in his hand and say, Thicket, you've been a wonderful host for us for the last few visits. We are going to be coming here, like back here, whenever we're in Sarkosa. You do not need to give us a discount to keep us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's really nice of you. But yeah, he after the bill is settled and you guys make your way out, you enter the early morning streets of Sarkosa. It's still nice and pleasantly quiet, and it's a nice bright sunny day too.
You jump into a tree and go to the other side of the country?
Unless we have anything else to do here. I think
Well-
maybe we should tell Flamgo that we're off on our way.
Right, and that we didn't get the new trade agreement for the animals.
Yes.
Sake of brevity, Hikan runs down to Flamgos, tells him that we're on our way and that we didn't do the deal because it seemed like a very dangerous animal that wasn't set for this climate.
Yeah, the animal didn't like it either.
Yeah.
Flamgo seems vindicated in that his initial judgment of it being a bad idea seems to be the correct one, and thanks you for looking into it.
I mean, that's actually that's a good thing. Yeah, pat on the shoulder from for that.
Yeah. But yeah, he will bid you farewell, and we'll make sure to keep count of accounts and everything so that he can provide you with the appropriate reimbursement of your business next time you're in town. So with Flamgo informed and the day ahead, you transport via plants across the kingdom. A nearby healthy tree unfurls open into a doorway that shows you another verdant area in Hyrule. Along the way, you can see the land-based entrance to Zoro's domain, and within a moment, you are there.
You know, with how efficient and how quick this travel goes, you'd expect, I don't know, some extra music, like played on an ocarina or some other instrument.
What's a macarena?
It's a kind of flute. They're very rare.
What's a flute?
You know what a flute is.
Do I?
You've been in festivals in a castle town. There must have
Wait.
been a flute.
Which one of those was the flute?
The long sticky one. Like
Also-
stick-like.
Max just nods to get out of the conversation.
But yes, you make your way over to not Hyrule Castle. You make your way to Zora's domain, and once there, you can see that the weather on this side of the country is a bit more overcast than anything, but it's still fairly pleasant. You can see that much like Sarkoza, the early morning streets of Zora's domain are largely empty at this time. As you walk through the entrance, the guards kind of give you a nod of recognition before you head in, and you can see that everything is nice and peaceful and calm, just as you left it. Let's see. Now, ordinarily, I would say you probably would have... no. So you remember the... where you kept Artismal, for the most part?
In the temple to Lord Jabu Jabu.
Mm-hmm. So you head in that direction. And as you get through the streets there and find your way to the temple to Lord Jabu Jabu, you can see the doors are already open, and heading inside, you can see the familiar face of Sister Agris, who is currently going through the area, just doing some light maintenance and making sure everything is set accordingly. As she looks up and sees you and says, "Oh, hello. It is nice to see you again. I suppose you are here to check in on your celestial friend."
Yes.
That is correct, and good morning to you. We were hoping to speak with them.
Of course. Please, right this way. And she will lead you...
Have they been communicating?
It's been difficult. They've been capable of speaking, but not in a language that we are able to understand.
Darn it, I was hoping that they were learning some Zora, because I would understand that.
True, but it is I suppose it is a difficult function.
True.
In the grand celestial cosmological realm, angels are created. They're not so much automata, but they are not made with the ability to learn languages. At least they are, but aren't. In most cases, most angels already speak every language and communicate through telepathy. It is a shame that Artismal is incapable of communication in that fashion. It might simply be an aspect of him that was lost upon, the unfortunate circumstances that had brought him to this situation. As she says this, bringing you up to the through the rear rooms of the temple and up to where they are keeping Artismal. She opens the door and you can see him there in like a very common robe, still with like this statuesque skin with blank eyes and this golden hair, still marked with scars as if chipped away at stone. He kind of looks up to you and doesn't really have much of a reaction. He just kind of like gives something of a quiet nod. And Sister Agri says, Tismal, your friends are here to perhaps speak to you. And she steps aside to let you in.
Hey there, bud. How you doing?
As you say that, and he understands it, he like his eyes widen, and he, while the rest of you hear Celestial speak, like the language that he spoke the last time, Hikan, you hear, "Oh, I understood that. Hello."
Wait, hold on.
Hold on to what?
Okay, this is new. Okay.
You
Yeah.
good?
I can understand him, and he can understand me, so this got a lot easier.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
so now we have 2/5 of the party understanding Ardismal now.
No, I didn't understand what they were just saying right there.
Okay, so you're not using your telepathy. Never mind then. Uh,
Well, if he says it out loud, I don't understand it.
Yeah, he verbalizes it. He says it out loud.
Right,
I was saying
yes.
that in character, as in
mhm.
either Hikan can talk with him, or I can talk with him. But we can't at the same time.
Huh. All right. Well then, and a kind of like motion for Hikan to just like go on.
I'm just gonna cut to the chase unless there's something that you guys want me to say.
No.
Maybe how he's been.
I asked him how he was doing, and then he said he understood me. How you doing?
Well, I it has been more comfortable than it has been previously.
That's good. He says he's more comfortable.
Nice, good.
And we'll just do some casual checkup on things, see if there's anything that he needs or anything like that, since there's actually someone that can quote speak end quote with him.
Okay.
To get more comfortable.
Give me a medicine check.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna ask him and then just tell
Oh,
the Zoras.
okay. All right. No, so I thought you were actually doing like an actual checkup thing. No, okay.
Oh no.
But yeah, if you're probing him for questions and all of that kind of, he basically explains that it doesn't, like, he doesn't hurt anymore, which is fine. He's happy with that. He is sad that he is unable to do most of the things that he was capable of prior to him being captured 6 odd years ago. So he's not uncomfortable or hurting anymore, but he's kind of sad.
In a malaise.
Hmm.
Okay. You know, unfortunately, we did come here to ask you a bit of a favor.
I see.
Some of the people that we have been interacting with have stuff with, what's the metal called again? The bad metal? Infernium. That's it.
Or Abysite.
Or Abysite. And so we were going to ask if we could use you to get you home, so we could ask them if we could get some Imperium to help us with what we need to do.
Okay.
If you would be okay with that. He
thinks a moment as he tries to remember something, and then shakes his head a little and says, I do not know whether or not interplanar travel works in that fashion, but as far as I know with Imperium, I am afraid I cannot help you. It is not that I do not know about Imperium. It is simply that neither myself nor any of my brothers within heaven would be capable of providing you with any.
Off game, I just want to be like, what about your boss? But I don't think that would work.
I'm afraid the reason
Go
why
up
we
to
cannot...
heaven.
I was going to say...
Demand to see the manager.
From
I was
now
gonna
on,
say,
we're not called Baron Renji, we are Baron Karen.
Karen Renji.
you really
Karen
want to have a
Renji.
shouting match with motherfucking Din? Okay.
Look, we're going to clean up her mess, okay?
Yeah.
My God. Anywho, he was saying why he couldn't.
Mm-hmm. And then we interrupted Artie.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. He says, in short, we cannot provide Imperium, for it has been strictly forbidden by members of the Divine Host. Every deity that lives within the upper planes had agreed that doing such a thing would be unwise.
Could we talk to him if we get over there?
Talking to a god is not exactly a easy feat, even if you were to travel to that location.
I am noting that I am like taking half a second, remembering that they can't understand his responses, and then translating before I ask my next question.
Yeah.
But we have
But
to try.
not impossible.
Max is saying, but we have to try. Like,
Exactly, Max.
we
Oh,
can't.
Max said we have to try.
We
Sorry.
can't just let people be consumed by this undead guy forever. Pretty sure the gods would hate that too.
What measure have you what is it that you need this Imperium for?
Khan will explain about the tapestry, the thing of demise, and the arbiter.
And the sword.
And the sword.
Oh, that's... Okay. Artismal kind of nods slightly. Says, I cannot say for certain that even under those circumstances it would be a foregone conclusion. It might be best to explain exactly what the nature of Imperium is by comparison to normal metals that you might find here on the prime material. I do not know how much you already know. It is not exactly a known quantity within the prime material that Imperium or Abyssite exists. But that is not without purpose. It is usually because of a very extreme circumstance that any kind of material of that fashion is brought to anywhere outside of the outer planes. From what I understood of our counterparts in the lower planes, they are not exactly of a similar mind, but for them, their metal equivalent is so valuable that they would rather not use it to sow chaos upon the material plane. They will use it, yes, but entirely for their own specific aims, and not by providing it to mortals to see what will happen. Imperium and Abyssite are not merely stronger metals, they are catalysts. They're able to attune to and empower spells beyond mortal ken. And there's a look to him as he looks at you, Hikan. And despite the fact that he has no iris or pupils, you can tell that his gaze is looking more or less where you are keeping the Quake medallion.
Khan flexes his left arm. works his hand a little bit.
Are we going to have to smelt the medallions?
Well, we don't have to do that. We just, wrap a band around it, attach it to one's fist.
No, we put it in a sock.
Because that's where you keep your loose change.
And then you swing it really hard.
There has only been one recorded incident of history that any of us are aware of in which a sizable chunk of Imperium had been brought to the material plane for the sake of the greater good. I do not know how much you know of the genesis of your world, but shortly after the world was created by my mistress and her sisters, or after the world was created by my mistress and her sisters, there was a great war as entities from the chaos that existed beforehand invaded the world. It is quite possible that without that intervention, the entire world would be consumed. However, as time has gone on, and mankind has developed, expanded, gained new understandings of magic and their own capabilities, the question then comes, would providing any amount of Imperium, even were it the size of a single coin, be usable or feasible when compared to the potential destruction and problems wrought by it remaining on the prime material plane?
When this gets translated, Renji will say, "How
Hikan does
about
not translate
alone?"
that immediately.
Oh. Darn it.
And Hikan says, I'm aware of that, probably more than most mortals, flexing his hand again. And so I understand the hesitance, but I do think it's for the greater good on that one. And I do, it's part of the reason why I am gathering them.
Then
And he'll pull out the Quake medallion, and then he'll translate what people said. Go, oh shit, that's right.
he'll wait for the translation as like you guys to have your conversation briefly before there being a counter argument.
Wait, so are these medallions made of Imperium?
If that's translated, he will shake his head.
Oh,
They have like a
okay.
teeny piece of it in them.
He will, in a roundabout way, he will explain that the medallions, as far as he can tell, he can't remember if the medallions are divinely created or if they are man-made. But what he can say is that he is aware that the medallions are a very, very destructive force. They are incredibly powerful, and the limitation that is put on them as far as mortal kind is concerned is that there is too much magic for one person and one mundane item to contain. Imperium, as a catalyst, removes that limitation. And then he adds on to that those medallions are the very low end of what he expects could be done with Imperium.
Gotcha.
Which is why he's like, it's not about whether or not the immediate threat can be vanquished. It's about what other problems could come about by introducing more Imperium to the world. And he even adds on that he's unsure whether or not the embargo on Imperium and Abyssite has been terribly effective. Like, as powerful as the angels and even the gods are, they can't account for absolutely positively every movement of this rare material. There could be Imperium all over the planet that they have no idea
Apparently
exists.
there's a sword made of one of the bad ones around.
That's the
Yeah.
only... Yeah. So it's like...
Somewhere.
Yeah.
So I would believe that we need to destroy that to vanquish the evil that we are facing.
Because it's tied its soul to it.
The only good thing of Imperium, the only thing of Imperium that we know of is hidden.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And none of us to
So-
build it anyway.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it is. I think I understand why you are so hesitant, or why the gods would be so hesitant. But what other ways are there to destroy something made of abysite?
He is unsure. Like, as far as he can tell, there are several things that could destroy something made of abyssite or Imperium. One, another item of the same material, but even then, that's not a surefire thing. They don't explode upon contact. They are. It just becomes essentially a endurance match at that point. Which one gives out first?
Right.
Great magic can destroy Imperium and abyssite, but he's talking very powerful stuff.
Yeah, I'm a few levels off that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I flick. I flick on the Sunblade and say, "This is like it's not fire. This is a different source of damage, of source of force. Would something similar to it work?"
he says that that would probably fall under the great magic category.
Hmm.
Um, Otherwise, he doesn't believe that there are other ways to do it. However, if the only other thing that he can think of is to seal it away, if there is a way to seal it away, and he understands that it would be preferable to destroy it.
Considering it's been tried before and has clearly
Yeah,
failed.
Yeah,
that
But
is
it's-
not a
yeah.
permanent solution.
It's not a permanent solution, but at the very least, if the threat can be contained and then a dedicated effort to find an alternative to destroy it were to be done, then that would be his suggestion. Otherwise, if you are so determined to have a raw piece of Imperium, then he would ultimately say that if he were to be sent back to where he comes from, he would try and petition the gods, but he can't guarantee success because, as he said, the gods themselves are hesitant to do so. And given that they are largely timeless beings, they could be debating for centuries before they come to a conclusion. And he has very little authority in the upper planes because he is a deva. He is not. He is like the bottom rung of angels.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like,
Does this get translated?
Yes.
we are just trying to see if Imperium is an option we can use here.
Yeah.
Like, if we can get a foot in the door, we'll talk, and if we're told no, then we'll find something else. This is just the easiest and quickest way to hopefully get something along those lines, is kind of the aspect to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Essentially, the roundabout way of saying it is that Imperium, in and of like, he can like he would say that Imperium would work in the situation that you're wanting to use it for, but
But it is not accessible.
yeah, acquiring it is going to be difficult. If you find some out in the world, by all means use it, he says. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, if we haven't found it and you find it first, then great. It's doubtful that the heavenly host is going to send someone down to grab it so quickly. Though chances are, depending on how big the thing you are doing is, someone may come down and politely ask for it back.
I think it's pretty big, the thing we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, would it be possible, Artismal, to not have like a raw chunk of it, but rather have something that is made for the express purpose of destroying the thing that we want to destroy? So that it is a pretty much either like a one-time use thing, or we do the thing, like, eventually, and we get to then give it back?
He says that while that could work, they would then, the creators of such a thing would then need to have a familiarity with the thing that you are wanting to destroy.
Also, they'd have to
Um,
trust us
Yeah.
to give it back.
I mean, we can't prove ourselves before getting into communication with them.
Mm.
I'm willing to give it a shot if we can.
Oh?
Just like talking with them and like saying what we can. Worst that they can do is tell us no, and we're at the same spot we are right here. We're finding something that we can do.
Suppose so. How do you want to get in touch with them?
Oh,
Let's see. Just need to check the wording on a spell.
I cast Sending to Din. Let me roll a d20. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Artismal suggests this because if at this point in time he kind of just understands that the way that you're wanting to get this sorted, there is a level of urgency to what you are doing, and because of this, he will kind of lean on the fact that the gods might take some time in order to deliberate things. So it's more convenient, he believes, if he were to be able to do stuff, or like you were able to continue what you were doing while he was petitioning the guys upstairs. So he thinks about it and says, "Oh, it's like, if possible, and he kind of looks over to Sister Agris and says, I believe she is a holy woman. If possible, if she can provide me with some sanctified ink and some parchment, I might be able to provide something that could be used."
Okay. I continued what I'm doing.
Yeah. And Sister Agris goes, "Oh, yes, one moment." And she disappears briefly and comes back with the materials. Teasmal slowly sits straight and, like using whatever surface he has, he begins to scroll something which is clearly in Celestial, but even with...
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't read it.
Yeah.
This
and
is weird.
he rolls it up and like he kind of places two fingers upon it and it flashes briefly, and immediately from that he's like and he shakily holds up the scroll and he explains, if you are able to send me back, if you're able to banish me back home, I will petition the gods after I have properly rested. This scroll is a scroll of commune. You will be able to contact him directly and ask him 3 questions through it, if possible. If this is assuming that things are getting dire and you need to get in touch with him immediately. Otherwise, he will, when he gets his full strength back, he will try and get in touch with you instead.
Do we know someone that can banish a Deva?
Well, I'm not sure about banish, but our original plan was to plane shift, and I could banish him back to his own plane using him as the tuning thing.
Give me
Maybe?
an Arcana check.
Can I help?
Natural 20.
Oh!
Okay. Never mind.
Okay. So as you're kind of mulling over the process of plane shift, a problem occurs in that while it's a bit like, while you probably could use something like the Javelin of Lightning or the Immovable Rod or something like that as a focus within plane shift, even then it's a bit touch and go. Actual creatures as the focus is next to impossible.
What if Artisanal stands up and holds out his arms like in the Praise the Sun pose? Then he's like a tuning fork.
But it's, yeah, because otherwise it's a case of like, you could then plane
You
shift
can't use a whole creature, but can you use part of a creature, like say one of his hairs? Because that would be an object.
True, but it's also not made of metal. It looks silvery and gold, but it's not made of metal, and admittedly above game. It occurred to me the other day that like plane shift then becomes really easy if you're using creatures, especially if you're going from outer plane back to material plane, because you can then use yourself or another creature as the focus.
But there's also the thing where we really want to be able to send him home.
I'm aware.
Was he able to say whether or not the Quake Medallion was made?
not.
It is not made of Imperium. He's just unsure as to
Well,
whether or
I
not
don't
it was
doesn't need to be made of
destroying
Imperium.
But is it celestial?
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he wasn't sure of. He just knows that it's not Imperium.
Does he know the sigil sequence of a teleportation circle?
Not off the top of his head.
Well, Artisanal, you're useless, aren't you? That's out of character.
Well, he's sorry for being trapped in an Iron Maiden for 6 years. It's just fine.
Look, that's not our problem. I do not wish to continue this bit.
But yeah.
Oh shoot.
This might actually be a good. Oh, yes, you have a brainwave.
Yeah. We know some high-ranking paladins.
We do. I will stone up Impa.
Do you kind of say, hello?
Hello, Impa. It's been a while. Sorry for not keeping in touch. Things have happened. You know how it is.
Yeah, I heard. Everything okay?
So far, so good. Luckily, we've actually come into possession of something very interesting in regards to planar travel. Speaking of planar travel, do you know if anyone from the chaplaincy knows banishment?
I can ask. Why do you need what do you need banished?
Our good friend Artismal.
Okay. If there's anyone,
they need to get home.
if there's anybody there, I'll probably need to speak to Larson Graves. I feel like if word gets out that someone had banished an angel and it wasn't someone of Din, then there might be a schism. So I need to just be sure of that.
Understandable. I think for all parties involved, it would be best to have Artismal get home as soon as possible.
Okay, I'll go and get Larson. If he's available, I'll send him to... Where are you keeping him again?
Zora's domain, and we're not keeping him. He is resting. He's not a prisoner or anything. He can leave whenever he wants to. Problem is, he's on the wrong plane.
Hikan's been translating Renji's part of the conversation still.
Like, that last sentence, Artis will just suddenly get slightly worried about the wording of that, but that's fine. And he says,
Do not like
yeah,
the semantic direction this conversation is going.
yeah. So,
Neither
okay.
does Max.
He goes, okay. All right. I will get on to Larson, and we'll see what can be done. If anything, he should be over there within the next couple of days.
Very well. Any other news from your side?
Nothing besides the ordinary. Maximilian is he's getting better, I think. He's spending more time at your house with Maxwell, though I don't know exactly what the product of that is going to be, as long as they're not being too aggressive or too angry at each other or anything. Marius is not having a good time.
Oh dear.
He's definitely in need of a win, but he doesn't have any wins to have just yet. So he's going to...
He needs to play more chess.
Right. We're keeping an eye on him, though.
Good.
I'm hoping that things will turn around, especially now that you guys are back, so that's good.
We are still traveling a lot.
Okay.
We've actually made contact with Lady Milrose and Lady Risha over in Sarkosa. They were there as well.
Oh.
And when we've concluded our things, we will be meeting up with them again to discuss matters of the Western Front.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Well, I won't keep you. I will go ahead and get on to Larson and see if he can make his way over.
That would be very kind, thank you.
Take care.
And you.
And yeah.
Imagine that's a very awkward end of the conversation to only have half translate.
I will explain what's going on. I will probably keep the part of the king slightly more vague.
That's fair. But yeah, with that settled, and you having a new scroll of commune, was there anything else you needed to do with Artismal or in Zora's domain before heading off?
Maybe ask him if there's anything he would like. Like this, if this is the first time someone has managed to, communicate with him.
Absolutely. An extra pillow, anything.
You know what would be a good idea?
Hmm.
Give him the helm of telepathy.
I sold it.
Yeah.
It would have been a
Next
good
best
idea.
thing would be cue cards. Now that we can communicate, we can have like cards that he will write like Celestial on, and then he can tell us what we need to write on the other side, and then he can hold up things for like rudimentary communication.
Okay, well, while I'm getting the cue cards with him set up, if you could do me a favor and go let the hold on, I actually still have her name. Give me a second. Do I still have her name or did I erase it? Oh no, I erased it.
Who do you want to speak to?
Let me take a look.
The
House
lady at the
rules,
inn?
currency. No. Documents. Crew of the Sly Guppy. If someone would go tell Astrid that we figured out the fate of the Company of D.
Ah,
Okay,
Right.
we can go do that.
And then I
Yeah.
can finish up the cue cards.
yeah.
I'll walk with Max.
Okay. So you bid farewell for the moment to Artismal while Hikan begins getting cue cards ready. The rest of you give me an investigation check.
That is a 17, an 8, and a 7.
Okay. Renji, with your 17, you eventually manage to find Astrid. She's at one of the libraries in town. And she, as you enter, she looks over to see the three of you and say, "Oh, hello. It is nice to see you again. I did not expect to see you in
Likewise.
Sora's domain. How might I help you?"
We've come across some information, and I'll also have, like, it was Max's idea to go and talk.
No, if it was Hikan's idea.
I mean,
and
one is constantly,
I've
but you picked it up, picked up on it, so.
Yeah. So, we met a guy from the company of D.
That it. Huh.
He was
This-
dead,
Oh,
but
I should think so. That was 2 centuries ago. So, wow, really?
Really.
Above game, I think
The-
Donatash was the one she was curious about. I think that was
the
his name.
wizard guy. Max doesn't remember his name.
Donatash.
That's it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. His soul was in this other dimension we got dragged to.
Oh no. That is greatly unfortunate. I certainly hope that he did not suffer. And well, I don't. But she kind of like dwells on it a bit more because she's. I imagine that on the boat journey back, she might have at least picked up, if she wasn't told directly, bits and pieces secondhand off of what your experience on the sealed isle was like when you were there.
Also, Max barely spoke to her because he barely spoke to anyone on that trip.
Yeah.
So he's just there kind of awkwardly
Yeah.
like, I know you the least out of everyone here.
Hey, your hero soul is trapped in a hell plane. Sorry. It's just like,
Yeah, he's
that-
also not good at like cushioning the blow.
yeah,
So
that's fair. She kind of looks down a bit dejected and is like, oh, well, I cannot say in certain situations. At the very least, I am a little jealous that you spoke to him, but I wish it was a meeting under better circumstances. I'm not sure what to say. I hope that maybe he can be freed somehow.
That is something we are working on.
yeah. And hopefully him and everyone else there didn't not be there anymore because I just guess this look in his eyes of damn it sucked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I see. Well, thank you for informing me of this eventuality and of this. I shall. I'm not sure what I will do with that information, but I shall make use of it somehow.
As turns to Randy and says, and like through his teeth just says, "Did he say anything she should know about? I don't remember."
I'm trying to rack my brain.
Give me an intelligence check, and I will be able to provide.
All right.
No,
Oh.
Max does not remember. He
Kinda.
had a 1.
That was my suggestion. Retroactively, 14! I'm still Dr. Gun.
Amazing.
Only 12.
Okay. Through Renji and Zaiden's intelligence checks, you managed to piece together, at least in some like, you can't get the exact details correct, but you do remember that Donatash did explicitly tell, like, a first-hand account as to what happened to him and his party on the Sealed Isle. But yeah, you can't provide it 100% word for word, but you are able to provide that account. And while it is unfortunate and horrifying in its own way, Astrid is at the very least thankful, because it is information that makes the notes that you found significantly clearer, given the circumstance. In fact,
So
yeah.
we share with her whatever, like, everything we can. But yeah, the fact that the expedition was a doomed one, unfortunately.
I can imagine, but I suppose in certain circumstances that is simply the risk that one takes when you take up the life of adventure, no?
Unfortunately, yes.
I don't think any of us have died yet, but yeah.
I'm nearly, but
Well, thank you again for that. I shall make sure to add it to my journal, and shall hopefully finally piece together pieces of history that have long been forgotten. She bows to you gratefully. This is
likewise.
Yeah, unless there's anything else you guys needed to do in Zora's domain. Mara, during this whole discourse, has kind of been patiently waiting outside of the church of Lord Jabu Jabu while Hikan finishes flashcards and stuff. But eventually, all of you regroup, and it is now, well, I suppose one question asks, what do you do now? Where do you go? What do you do?
Well, there's the...
Are we waiting for Chaplain, or are we going to the ziggurat?
I would say that's up to you.
I don't care. Either way.
It would be
We've
a good
got
idea
a
to
lot
be
of
expedient
things.
about it, I suppose.
We got a lot of things that we need to do, because we're not going after him right now, so we can go to the ziggurat and then head west.
Very well.
Okay. So, you make your way out of Zora's domain. Are you transporting via plants again?
Guess we could go somewhere near the Echo of Hylia
Okay.
and go south. People think that's
It's a
good.
possibility.
It was either going to be that or somewhere near Mazro, and Echo's closer.
Yeah, Echo's technically closer.
Alright, we will teleport to a tree near.
If the map is proportionate.
It looks close.
Already worked
It
hard
looks
on
close,
that map.
and that's all I've
Look,
got.
I'm not saying anything to the quality of the map. What I'm saying is not all maps are made to be proportional.
Yeah, like the world map.
Yeah, I promise. I promise future world maps will look a little bit more impressive.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it.
Exciting.
um,
So
Now I'm
early,
curious.
an early copy.
hmm. But yeah, so you transport via plants to here, to the Echo of Hylia, or an area just south of Echo of Hylia. You can see the
Where we see a
ruins
tree.
behind you as you re-emerge. It's about, I want to say, at this point, considering the early start you had, I think it's probably about mid-morning. So you have effectively the rest of the day to go. You could probably get to the ziggurat before nightfall.
Assuming we aren't waylaid.
Yeah. And even then, it would be a significant waylaying. But yeah. And
Turns out
so
this entire black space between the grass and the ziggurat is just skeletons.
Only skeletons.
Vader
naught but
skeletons.
skeletons. But yeah. Let's see.
I was looking at options as well.
Mhm.
I have the option of going for the giant elk. He's a huge beast, which I can imagine could take all three at once, because that's on the
Possibly.
same size as an elephant,
Mm.
and
Could
it has
do.
double the movement speed that we do.
Oh,
Nice. Okay.
interesting.
So if that is what you wish to do, by all means, you may do so.
There's 4 of us, and I could almost keep up with the giant elk.
Well, there's 5 of us if Mara is with us.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Also
Outside
one of
of
us.
Zelda,
Oh.
Also, one of
four.
us is an elk.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that.
Luckily, I do not need to ride on my own back.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. That would be very recursive.
Okay.
I don't want to see that.
So I'll put you guys here for now. And I will reveal bits of map for the sake of...
Oh, map reveal.
Surprise!
Oh.
It's a featureless word.
Surprise, there's trees.
Dead trees.
But yeah. As you begin to head further south, you're not in Zora's domain, so I can stop that music at the very least. There we go. As you begin to head further south from the Echo of Hylia, the ground beneath you transitions from verdant fields and small patches of woodland to something a bit more dry. It's almost pleasant at first, the dry grass like shifting to these almost golden rolling hills, and these sparse trees still having some leaves on them, but as you get further and further along and see over the horizon, you can see that the dryness is becoming something a bit more arid and dead. You find that either side of you there's trees that have only just started to wither and die, losing their leaves or whatever fruits they might bear, and yeah, it is otherwise not a terribly pleasant sight. Things begin to flatten out a little as you begin moving a bit more downhill into what appears to be this fairly deep basin, at the center of which you can see, amidst a whole circle of dead trees, is this large stone structure, this pyramid of dark stone off in the distance, that as you get closer and closer appears more angular and segmented in a sense. Just the sight of it appears to be quite foreboding in its own way. But as you do carry on further south, to proceed towards that ziggurat, your passive perceptions in your own way are all high enough in their capacity to be capable of seeing there is a pack of something or a group of something that is moving eastward. And as you peer further down the hill, you can see it appears to be a sizable group of moblins, all armed, and they're just on a patrol heading west. And we will handle that next time, because if I start combat or anything now, it will be way past our usual end point. So, thank you very much, everybody, for listening / watching. I am ArticulateT. I am the game master of Legend of Zelda D&D campaign Hyrule Chronicles. This has been episode 101. And with me, as always, I've had Renji Vox, being played by TheNetherlad.
It's me. I'm just very happy to be playing in this game.
I have Hikan Sio, being played by Avrdal.
Squinting at them moblins.
I have had Zaiden Shari, being played by Rubber Pirate.
Maybe they're just innocent, friendly moblins.
And I have had Max, being played by Keestrith.
I'm not coming up with ideas for this encounter, I swear.
No. Why wouldn't
Run,
why would you?
moblins! Run!
And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye.